welcoming you to the show AFCON updates. We just have to give you the best stories and the best updates that are coming from Morocco 2025. Lots of games has been played, and of course, we've been dissecting it every other day. We'll be doing that right to the 18th of January, and today we are here once again to give you the best when it comes to the AFCON and tell you everything that is happening. And of course, we know that you are watching or probably paying attention to the game between Egypt and South Africa. What a cracker of a game that game has been so far. We'll look at that and we'll check and see and update you about the scores of that particular game. I'm even have a little discussion all about it. And also I have with me in the studio a guest that will follow together. We'll discuss and analyze all these games and see that we give you the best update that is about AFCON. Don't forget, my name is Joseph Peter, and I'm here to make sure that we enjoy this show. But before we start, we'll take, and go on a commercial break and get to, show you our sponsors and see what they have got for us. When we're done with that, we'll come back and we'll start with the show proper. Welcome back to the show AFCON update, and just like I told you before the break, we're starting with the results of Egypt against South Africa. That game is on, and that game is so much interesting as the Egyptians have taken the lead in that particular game. They just took the lead in the 49th minute of the first half, with Mohamed Salah, of course, scoring a penalty after being, hacked down by a South African defender. The game right now, as it stands, is in the first half break, and the second half is yet to be started. And of course, it's going to be a lot interesting because, as you can see, Hani, the defender of Egypt, has been red carded. Mohamed Hani, the right wing back, has been red carded, and therefore Egypt are down to 10 men. Will they be able to sustain the amount of pressure that the South Africans will be coming back to bring onto them? We'll wait to see as we keep you posted based on what's happening on this particular game between Egypt and the Bafana of South Africa. Of course, Mohamed Hassan Hossan there on the touchline, the coach of Egypt, trying to see how he can maybe calm the storm that caused the red card for the Egyptian side. Now, I said I have with me in the studio a guest. I have Oppah Josiah here with me to discuss all these stories about the AFCON anyway, and we'll dissect and do everything together. Welcome to the show, Oppah Josiah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Du.
It's always nice to have you here. And one thing is, today is not the Nigeria game, so I'm sure the pressure on you, or maybe the tension in you, is not so much, right?
At all.
But I'm sure you are
on the
interested.
neutral ground today.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
It's the AFCON, so the interest should be general, not necessarily when Nigeria is playing, but then as an African, you should be interested in every other game as well.
All right, it's good that you said to be interested as an African.
Yeah.
Well, you should be more interested as a Nigerian whenever the Super Eagles is playing.
Yes, no, the interest will definitely shift to another level when Nigeria is playing.
It's all right.
The interest, the pressure, and everything.
It's all right. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, looking at the game between Egypt and South Africa, as you can see, it's first half already. South Africa are losing to Egypt. Egypt winning 1-0, a goal by Mohamed Salah. Was this what you were expecting? Does this kind of tell the story of your mindset before this particular game started?
Well, the AFCON is usually very unpredictable. On the part of history, results has favored South Africa more. But then, getting the penalty awarded to Egypt on the 39th minute and then Salah converting it on the 45th minute, it just shows the thin line that there is no margin for error. And then despite going ahead, we can see that something that ought not to happen on a global stage, a player getting a red card, costing his team potential results. This is a top of the table clash. Whosoever wins this game is automatically guaranteed top spot to a great extent. But then I'm not ruling out South Africa, considering they have a man advantage. I hope that they will shuffle a bit and then put in nice crosses, because in terms of height, they have advantage over the Egyptians. When they get Foster involved in the ball more, I see them pulling in great results.
It's all right. Now, looking at the fact that the Egyptians are down to 10 man, and they are 1 man short, do you think that will kind of help South Africa to get into the game? Because we can argue that the first half of this particular match has been dominated by the Egyptians.
Well, I expect a very close game from the very beginning, but then with a man down, I expect the Egyptians to like pull back a little, and then it will be a very tough match for the South Africans, considering that the Egyptians have something to preserve. But then I expect the coach to motivate his players, to set up his players with the way that they will exploit every given opportunity that they have. And besides exploring, they need to take advantage and convert chances. They cannot afford to miss chances in this game, because we saw that in their first game. So the Egyptians are not, the Pharaoh team are not the team to miss chances against. So whatever chance they get, they need to convert.
It's all right. Now let's go back, to the penalty itself. A lot of people, a lot of football fans, I'm sure, will be wondering, isn't that too soft? Because a hand on the face of a player, defender that is already ahead of the striker,
Yes.
and the striker trying to chase him down, and a hand on the face on in the penalty box, and then it's called back for penalty. What's your verdict on that?
Well, it's very debatable, but then we've seen a lot of softer penalties being awarded. But then for this, I feel as if it's too harsh, on the part of the South Africans. But then it's football, and it's one of those things that evoke emotions, whether you get justice or not. As long as the result doesn't go your way, just try your best to put in the necessary fix.
It's all right. Yeah, we just wish the South Africans, because you sound as if you are supporting the South Africans, and I don't know Nigerian football fans
not
support
necessarily.
South Africa.
Not necessarily. I actually prefer Egypt, because I see Salah as somebody that I respect as a footballer, so I always wish him well wherever he's playing.
All right, that's a good one. Oppah Josiah there with his verdict, and we will keep you posted as to the happenings in this particular game, hoping that the game is actually satisfying to watch. Just like the first half was, we know that the South African side will do everything in their power to make sure they come back into the game. But it's also in the hands of Hassan Hossam to see if he can actually, calm the storm that is coming for them right now. Now, we'll move away from that game and we'll talk about the game that was played earlier today. That is the game between Palencas Negras of Angola against the Giant Warriors of Zimbabwe. That game ended 1-1 draw. Did that meet your expectation?
Well, I actually expected a draw, and then that was what turned out to be. The Warriors have not actually really turned up for this tournament yet. All their games so far has been close call. I just hope that in their final game, they will do well. But then it's already looking quite impossible. Even though they still have a chance, if they finish third, they should just make sure that they finish among the best third, for them to go ahead. But then for them to be conceding quite early in the game. This is not the first game that they are conceding, but then they are actually very lucky to be coming back to equalize.
It's all right. Now, we're still on this game, this Angola-Zimbabwe game. And before this game was played, a lot of people's mind went on the version of Zimbabwe that came last in the World Cup qualifier, and therefore not much respect was given to Zimbabwe. But looking at the results now and seeing how far Angola went in the World Cup qualifier and how strong they were, I'm sure that this is a fair result to the Zimbabweans.
Well, you cannot undermine any African team at all. I see during the World Cup qualifiers, Comoros, they shocked Tunisia home and away.
Yes.
So you cannot undermine any African team regardless of the form. It's just like our football in Nigeria here, the league. It's almost the same thing with what we're having in the continent, Angola and Zimbabwe. So you can hardly separate these two, despite FIFA ranking showing a wide margin, 129 and 89th on the FIFA log. It doesn't really show any disparity. But then, kudos to them. They are considered the underdogs. But then they have been pulling results here and there. If they're able to get 3 draws, I feel they might have a chance.
All right, we hope that the best team, we pray that the best team actually gets to win and qualify from the group stage. Now, before we jump into the other game, which is the game that is going to be played later between Zambia and Comoros, I would just like to bring to your attention the current status of the different tables of the Nations Cup. It seems as if the big football playing nation seems to be doing better, and there's no major upset. There don't seem to be many major upsets in this first match. That's match day 1 of the group stage.
Well, the margin in terms of quality of football seems to be very wide, and that's why we'll see little to no upset. I'm not really expecting any upset, but then is something that will always happen in football, at least once in 10 times. But so far, we are yet to experience any.
But do you agree that upset kinds of spice up the game and makes it better?
Of course, it makes football really interesting. You know, we have history of different teams pulling off upset against big teams, so it's not something that
it's new.
It's new, and it definitely brings the beauty out of the game.
It's all right, but you know, I don't mind a couple of upsets, 1 or 2 upsets. You know, it's good for the game.
Well, the biggest upset would be for Comoros to win the tournament.
And the biggest upset we do not want is Uganda defeating Nigeria Super Eagles.
That's actually it. But then, if they are going to defeat us and we end up winning the trophy, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Absolutely, I agree with you on that. Yeah. Now we just have to move on, and we'll continue. We'll talk about the game between the Zambia, that's the Chipolopolo of Zambia, against the Cintas of Comoros. This Comoros side did a lot of, gathered a lot of momentum and a lot of reputation also during the World Cup qualifiers. Yes. Now they were paired against the host rather, Morocco. That's not an easy game. Actually, it isn't going to be. It never was going to be an easy game for them. But they were able to do their best and came out defeated 2-0. Now they are taking on another defeated side with another side, Zambia, that played draw against Mali. Do you think they stand a chance of causing an upset? Because we've known them to be giant killers in African football recently. Well,
they have actually carved a niche for themselves in African football, but then both are on a part of very poor run of results. For Comoros, they've won, or should I say they've lost almost their last 5 games compared to Zambia that only picked up just 1 point. So today's game is very vital for each of them on the part of, okay, we need to build the momentum, we need to go away from the pattern of losing a football game. This is a very serious match for them. But then, Comoros have been playing together as a team, they've gelled, so I really expect a very serious fight today. In as much as the Zambians, yes, they have history as a football team, but then they've not been performing as expected. But I expect that the coach will put in a team and a system in place that will definitely get the result for the nation. You
mentioned something very, very important. You said they have history, they are good. When it comes to the Nations Cup, yes, Zambians have good history in the Nations Cup.
True.
However, they are taking on an underdog, being Comoros, that have been, good also to an extent. Now, the question is, do you think that they would be able to outrightly defeat the Comoros and take the 3 points?
Well, I will not tag it outrightly because it will be a very close game, We in Africa, we don't really score goals in our games. And these are two teams that don't really score goals as it is. If you check the last 10 games, they averagely score 1 per game. Even if Comoros have scored 4 in one of their games, but adding it up in their 10 games, you find out that they've barely scored 1 in 10. So I don't really expect a wide margin. Even if Zambia will pull off a result, they need to put in a fight because these Comoros are no walkover.
It's all right. Let's have the head-to-head of the Zambia-Comoros game and get to see how they've been doing against each other. It seems, they've met just once, and, Zambia was the winner of that particular one game. And, we have 2 games, rather, 2 games. And one was a draw. The other one was a winner by, Zambia. And let's get to see their best players and, get to talk about their best players, the ones that, would be expecting to actually do well in this particular game. This is in Chamanga, and then this is Patson Daka. And this guy is prominently known to have played for Leicester City and and been in England. So who do you think would be the best player of the day when these two get to meet later in the day?
Well, considering that Daka has put in a massive shift in their last game, snatching the points at the death.
A late goal.
So I expect that will be a morale booster for him. And then I'm vouching for him, actually, considering that he has been in the eyes of the public for some time. And then he's well known. So this is a time for him to represent his country to the fullest and give them what they truly desire.
It's all right. Now, hopefully he gets to do that. But this young man, a lot of people paid attention to him. Yes, they were defeated in their first game, but you could see that among the Comoros team, he was the only one that was trying to do something.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely. You know, watching their game, you always see, even in the face of defeat, you see that bright spark. And when you call that bright spark, he's definitely the one. I expect him to still continue in that same pattern. And I just hope that his other teammates will also rally behind him to ensure that they all work together as a unity to get a result. It's
all right. You know, I was going to ask you for the scoreline, but let's leave that for later.
All right.
Towards the end of the show, you would give us your own predicted scoreline.
Okay.
And now we'll move away from the game between, you know, Zambia and, you know, their opponents, Comoros, and we'll talk about the game between Morocco and Mali. This is going to be a cracker. This is going to be a very, very big game. Let's have the head-to-head between Mali and Morocco. Morocco-Mali, as you can see, 3 matches, and the Morocco won 2 of those games, and Mali got 1 draw. Now, this kinds of puts it in a spectacle what this game should be all about. It should be all about Morocco, and for the fact that they are at home, because if you can see one of those matches, they got an away win, and an emphatic this is home win here now, plus, you know, just 1 draw away still. So that kind of, you know, spells out the likely outcome of this game.
Yes, if there is any African team that plays like a top European team, is the Moroccan team. You know, they play very good football. In their first game, despite not scoring the first half, they were dominant. And then for the fact that they have the support of the fans behind them is a very massive factor. The Malians, yes, for some games now, they've not really been conceding, you know. So we expect a very close game, but then I wouldn't expect anything short of a dominant Morocco display today.
When you say dominant, dominant kinds of, you know, means a lot of goals. But you said Mali doesn't concede much goals.
Yes.
So I need you to really clarify that. Should we be expecting goals in this game by Morocco, or you think it's going to be a slim win by Morocco?
Well, it can be a slim win, but still dominant. So the word dominant doesn't necessarily mean goal, you know.
You want to play politics with me? It's all right. Let's have the best players. Let's have the best players that, I don't know, the players that we expect to actually show up in this particular encounter. That young man, the El Kabi, that goal he scored, it's almost as if he knows how to. It's like he practiced this particular kind of overhead goals.
Well, the beauty of this AFCON is that I've been seeing beautiful goals, and I'm really impressed. We're not just seeing a rough, lucky goal. We are seeing technical goals.
Somebody said we are not seeing the vintage African football. Yes. We are seeing the teams now become more technically aware,
yes,
and actually playing the game.
In fact, even the Nigerian game, I was really impressed. Like, for the first time, like, I'm seeing
formation.
I'm seeing a team play. I'm seeing an image. But then let's focus on Morocco.
Yeah.
I was really impressed with all the goals that was scored on that match day. And then, despite not having Hakimi around, you will barely notice that they have one of their best players missing. That's a system that is working. That regardless of who comes into this team, yes, we have Brahimi come into the team, and he's doing excellently well. So is every other member of this team. And I don't expect any of them to underperform. Rather, I expect them to give a morale-boosting performance, because them winning this game will automatically guarantee the first position, and then the last game of the group match, they would just decide to rest in players and introduce others to get some match fitness.
It's all right. Now, based on the past performance of Achraf Hakimi, and right now what the information reaching us is that he is fit to play. Do you think the coach would bring him in this game against the Malian side?
Well, I wouldn't be expecting the coach to take that kind of risk. I would prefer, or I will, in my position, I would rather put him in the third match when
there's no pressure.
Yes, when the group stage is done and dusted, where there will be no risk of getting injured again. He has been out for some months, should I say a month. So I wouldn't just throw him in a very competitive match without prior football for, let's say, regaining match fitness. So even if I should introduce him, it should be, let's say, with 15 minutes left on the clock.
It's all right.
Then he's a valuable asset to the team.
It's all right. Now, you know, no disrespect to Mali, but we all know that, you know, on paper, Morocco should actually win this particular game. Now we know that Morocco would win. What are the chances of Mali? Do they have any chance, of causing an upset in this particular encounter?
Well, let me not mention him. Just like the team that caused us upset not to be in the World Cup. So just like them had a chance, they also have a chance. But then this is football. Anything can happen as long as you do your assignment, as long as you do your homework, judicially avoiding mistake. One of the things that would cost them, just like what is costing South Africa and Egypt now, is both individual errors. So as long as Mali will avoid any form of individual error on their own part and stick to the plan, stick to the game, remain in the game, and then convert that sole chance, I see them pulling a result.
It's all right. Now, let's talk about the same, this player who has El Kabi, who has a goal already registered to his name. Do you think he's going to get a goal this night? And if you think he's going to get a goal against the Malians, does he have a chance of becoming the highest goal scorer in the AFCON 2025?
Well, with Salah already on 2 goals, and then with him being in a team that is very creative, I actually see him scoring goals. Brahimi is a creator. When Hakimi comes back into the team, he is also a creator. They have left, right, and center people that are creating chances. So it is left for him to desire to score lots of goals. So it's not as if he'll be short of service. We can see in the first game he had lots of chances, but then he scored that beautiful goal. And
he's fond of scoring this type of goals. In his career, in his football clubs, he scored these kinds of goals.
So maybe in Africa, we'll name the best goal scorer to be, just like we give award for Puskas.
Okay, so maybe he gets the best goal. Yeah, okay. And he would be, for me, one of the best overhead kick goal scorers all over. Even because if you look at his highlights, you get to see the number of goals he scored with overhead kicks. You'll be shocked.
It's more like his trademark. So it's not as if it's a one-off something.
It's not a one-off.
He's used to it. So it's a good one for him.
It's all right. Now we're going to digress a bit.
Okay.
But not exactly really digress. Now we're going to talk about the AFCON in its entirety. The performances that has been, we've been having from smaller clubs, smaller nations, and big nations. You just look at it. Would you say that, the gap between big nations, big football playing nations and small football playing nations is actually closing? Just look at the pattern of the play and the results combined.
Well, going by the results only, there has been a few breach of gaps. We have not seen a team thrashing another 4-0, 6-0, especially because this is a continental tournament. It's not a friendly match. So everybody is taking it serious. There is basically no underdog. For the Nigerian game, we are kind of very lucky because any slack would have ended that game on a draw. You get. So at this point in time, there is actually no big nation and there is no small nation.
It's all right. Yeah. Now we're going to go back to the game between, the Egyptians and the South Africans and get to see what is happening there. I'm sure by now they must have returned for the second half. It's still 1-0 for the Egyptian side, and Egypt is still leading with a goal, which means they've started soaking the pressure that is coming, from the South African.
Well, just like I said earlier, as long as they will stick to the game plan and avoid mistake, they will be able to hold on to this result. But then South Africa need to be very patient as well. That's the game of football. It's
all right. Now let's just have the table of this particular group B and get to see what is happening. Let's look at it and see with the current results, what is the current status of that particular group. We know that Egypt will be sitting on 6 points already. South Africa will be sitting on 3 points, and the rest would have to just be at the bottom. And this game is going to end in a very, very dramatic way. It kind of reeks of drama, this particular game.
Well, the table is already shaping to the way virtually all football fans expect. There is nothing surprising or shocking about the table, regardless of how this game ends. We all, to a great extent, I feel these two will qualify as top 1 and 2. So regardless of how it ends.
All right, thank you, Josiah Oppah. I'm very, very grateful to have you here.
It's my pleasure, sir.
It's all right. I hope you come back and we'll do this again before the AFCON ends.
Definitely.
All right. And that's it from me, Joseph Peter, and all the team. Of course, we'll leave you with our sponsors, November Cube, and try to see, what is going on with them there. And, I'm sure that you would like what you see. Thank you for watching.
My name is Dr. Habib Atandani Oshe, Chairman of November Cubes Group. Let's come together as one Nigeria, from the savannas of the north to the coast of the south. Our hearts beat as one for the Super Eagles. Let's celebrate our diversity and unite for victory. From all of us at November Cubes Group, we do wish the Super Eagles all the best at the AFCON. Bring them the trophy, guys. Kindly do visit us today and discover a world of luxury, comfort, and tranquility. At November Cubes Group, we're not just building homes, serving meals, or offering hospitality business. We are creating a lifestyle that is perfect for families, professionals, and entrepreneurs. Thank you, and we look forward to welcoming you soon.